In this video, I'll show you how SiNi object plugins work with Chaos Vantage 2. First, let's look at the scene. To begin with, I fire up V-Ray to show you the camera shot. It's a simple hill scene with only the ground visible. I'm using our Illumi plugin to light the scene, and I have added V-Ray fog for a little atmosphere. We're going to use this spline to create a fence and then populate the scene with vegetation. I'll start with the fence. If I unhide the layer, you can see I've already added a SiClone model. This comes from downloading the free models from the website. SiClone is a simple parametric 3D modeling tool that assembles assets along selected splines by distributing objects and sweeping spline shapes. If I select the spline that the model is following and then move it, you can see the SiClone model automatically updates. I recommend you check out our help docs to learn more about SiClone. It's now time to fire up Chaos Vantage by activating a live link from 3ds Max to Vantage. This will allow me to see my progressive work on the scene using the power of Vantage's real-time rendering. I've hidden the side panels in Vantage to clean up the UI by double-clicking on the tab headers. If you use multiple monitors, it's advisable to have Vantage displayed on a second screen, but for this demo, I'll place it on the same screen. You can see I need to adjust the lighting exposure levels. Then, in 3ds Max, select the SiClone icon or 3D model, open the roll-up, and select the spline path. We are going to replace the setup spline with the fence line. Click the spline, and SiClone will populate the length following the contours of the hill. This will be displayed in real time via the live link in Vantage. To demonstrate this, I will make some adjustments to the post positions. In SiClone, open the Distribute Objects roll-up, select the post in the list, and below, under Object Spacing, I'll change the setting to 2.4 meters. I'll do the same for the finial on top of the post to align them. I'll adjust them again to a smaller spacing. I'm sticking to a 600mm module, so the design remains intact. As you can see, it's a bit dense, so I'll reset the posts to a wider spacing. Okay, so that's it for SiClone. Next, I'll move on to Disperse, which is our 3D object painting tool. By selecting the icon, I open the side roll-up. I've already added a few plant 3D assets from the Chaos Cosmos library and set their random transforms. I'll use the multi-object brush to paint random 3D objects into the scene. Disperse will display an icon showing the size and position of the brush as you work. Nothing is showing in the viewport because I have the display settings set to none. I'll change this to pyramid display mode. Hold down the left mouse button to continuously paint or click to place. You can delete objects by changing to the delete brush. You can adjust the transform settings, such as scale. In this case, I'll select one of the plants and scale it a few times until it looks right. Now I'm going to move on to using SiNi Scatter. I have already added trees from Chaos Cosmos and added random transforms. I start by selecting the scatter mesh and then selecting the ground. It is then applied to the whole surface using the selected distribution map. You can see this covers everything, so we need to use an exclusion spline to remove unwanted trees. Or you could use the delete brush in the painter roll-up. In Vantage, I'll adjust the gamma to give me a bit more light. Next, I want to add the meadow grasses. I created another scatter setter for that. As before, I've added a selection of grasses and flowers from Chaos Cosmos and set their random transforms. As before, I select the scatter mesh and point to the ground. You can see in the viewport I've set the display type to point only, as there are 1 million objects. I might want to adjust some of the plant's individual transform settings. For the flowers, I'll scale them up a lot, so we can see it becoming invasive. I need to adjust the exposure in Vantage to see what I'm doing. You can see the flowers have grown massive. I'll bring them down in size. Finally, as I've also used Illumi for the lighting, I might adjust the position of the sun. Select the Illumi compass, either in the viewport or by name. Make sure you unhide the compass to activate it. On the right side menu roll-up, adjust the rotation. I now want to make some further adjustments to the meadow. In Scatter, I select the flowers and then adjust the display percentage, reducing it from 100% to 50. This calls the flowers into clumps. You can go through and adjust all the plants, but I'll leave the percentages as is for now. That's it. You can see how interactive and visually responsive it is to live link to Chaos Vantage. Thanks for watching.